Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dharma podcast. In this episode, we will take a look at a list of some of the major Hindu temples that Aurangzeb had destroyed throughout India. To do this, I will read out directly from the explicit orders that he had issued to his officials in this regard. But before that, let's look at the historical context and background. The regime of Aurangzeb is undoubtedly the worst of bad news as far as the Hindu civilisational memory is concerned. In fact, the attitude towards Aurangzeb shown by some powerful sections of the contemporary Muslim community in India offers some of the most telling evidences for this fact. Some representatives of the Muslim clergy today, especially on TV debates, are quite candid and vocal in their assertion that the Gyanvapi mosque is a settled fact. That is, Hindus have no claim over the original Kashi Visvavantha Temple, which is what makes it necessary for us to dig out at least a partial list of the Hindu temples that Aurangzeb destroyed on an epic scale throughout India. And as history shows us, every single Hindu temple destroyed and replaced with a mosque is conquered territory, and Hindus have given up enough territory over an entire millennium. And it was a prolonged chain of all such concessions that ultimately led to the creation of Pakistan. So without further ado, the following is a brief list of some of the major Hindu temples that Aurangzeb destroyed through the length and breadth of India. The circumstances leading to the destruction of each temple are also briefly given verbatim from primary sources. These sources include but are not limited to Jadunath Sarkar's extraordinary volumes on Aurangzeb, William Crooke's Handbooks, Graaf's Chronicles, Charles Stewart's accounts, Aurangzeb's own Farmans and Akhbarats. This list is by no means exhaustive and is meant to be a ready reckoner of sorts, given the manner in which Aurangzeb has been elevated almost to sainthood by the secular brigade disguised as historians. To begin with, here is a list of Hindu temples destroyed by Aurangzeb when he was still a prince. Remember, I am reading out directly from Aurangzeb's Farmans and Chronicles written by his own officials and court historians and foreign travelers who visited India during his rule. Number 1. The temple of Chintaman, situated close to Saraslipur, which was built by the jeweler Sita Das. It was converted into a mosque named Quwwat-ul-Islam by order of Prince Aurangzeb in 1645. He slaughtered a cow inside the temple to mark his pious act. Number 2. Aurangzeb writes, and I quote, "In Ahmedabad and other paraganas of Gujarat, in the days before my accession, many temples were destroyed by my order." Number 3. The village of Satara near Aurangabad was my hunting ground. Here, on the top of a hill, stood a temple with an image of Khande Rai. By God's grace, I demolished it and forbade the temple dancers to ply their shameful trade. Close quote. Number 4. This is Aurangzeb's order to the Subedar of Gujarat. In the city and paraganas of Ahmedabad, the Hindus, following their superstitious customs, light lamps in the night of Diwali. It is ordered that in bazaars there should be no illumination at Diwali. Close quote. Now, we come to a small list of Hindu temples destroyed by Aurangzeb after he became Sultan. Number 1. It has been decided according to our Islamic canon law that no new temple should be allowed to be built. Number 2, the temple of Somnath was demolished early in my reign and idol worship there was put down. It is not known what the state of things there is at present. If the idolaters have again taken to the worship of images at the place, then destroy the temple in such a way that no trace of the building may be left, and also expel the worshippers from the place. Number 3. On December 19, 1661, Mir Jumla entered the city of Cooch Behar, which had been evacuated by its king and people, and appointed Sayyid Muhammad Sadiq to be chief judge, with directions to destroy all the Hindu temples and to erect mosques in their place. Mir Jumla himself, with a battle axe, broke the image of Narayan. Number 4. The emperor, learning that in the temple of Keshav Rai at Mathura there was a stone railing presented by Dara Shikoh, he remarked, "In the Muslim faith, it is a sin even to look at a temple, and this Dara had restored a railing in a temple. This fact is not at all creditable to the Mohammedans. Remove the railing." By his order, Abdul Nabi Khan, who was the Faujdar of Mathura, removed it. Number 5. November 20, 1665. As it has come to His Majesty's knowledge that some inhabitants of the Mahals appertaining to the province of Gujarat have again built the temples which had been demolished by imperial order before his accession. Therefore, His Majesty orders that the formerly demolished and recently restored temples should be pulled down. Number 6. This is an order dated April 9, 1969. The emperor ordered the governors of all the provinces to demolish the schools and temples of the infidels and strongly put down their teaching and religious practices. Number 7. This is another order dated sometime in May 1669. Saleh Bahadur, mace bearer, was sent to pull down the temple of Malarna, which is near Savai Madhopur in Rajasthan. Number 8. This is another order dated 2nd September 1669. News came to court that according to the emperor's command, his officers had demolished the temple of Vishwanath at Banaras in the Dhaka district, now in Bangladesh, and it is dated 27 June 1672. Quote, "In every paragana, officers have come from the thanas with orders from Emperor Aurangzeb for the destruction of infidel idols." Number 14. This is another news report. Darab Khan was sent with a strong force to punish the Rajputs of Khandela and to demolish the great temple of that place. He attacked the place on March 8, 1679 and pulled down the temples of Khandela and Sanula and all other infidel temples in the neighborhood. Infidelity and turbulence, such a marvelous and seemingly impossible feat was accomplished. On seeing the strength of the emperor's faith and the grandeur of his devotion to God, the Hindu Rajas felt suffocated and they stood in amazement like statues facing the walls. The idols, large and small, set with costly jewels which had been set up in the temple, were brought to Agra and buried under the steps of the mosque of Jahanara to be trodden upon continually. Number 10. Emperor Aurangzeb partially destroyed the Sita Ramji temple at Soron. One of his officers slaughtered the Brahmin priests, broke the image and defiled the sanctuary at Devi Palan in Gonda. Number 11. This is a farman dated 7th April 1670. News came from Malwa that Wazir Khan had sent Gada Beg, a slave with 400 troops, to destroy all the temples around Ujjain. A Rawat of the place resisted him and killed Gada Beg with 121 of his men. Incident. So on 29 January 1680, Hasan Ali Khan reported that 172 temples in the environs of Udaipur had been thoroughly demolished. Hamlas from Cuttack to Medinipur on the frontier of Orissa. The imperial paymaster Asad Khan has sent a letter written by order of the emperor to say that the emperor, on learning from the newsletters of the province of Orissa that at the village of Tilukti in Medinipur, a temple had been newly built. The emperor has issued his august mandate for its destruction and the destruction of all temples built anywhere in this province by the worthless infidels. Therefore, you are commanded with extreme urgency that immediately on the receipt of this letter, you should destroy all the above mentioned temples. Every idol house built during the last 10 or 12 years, whether with brick or clay, should be demolished without delay. Also, do not allow the crushed Hindus and the despicable infidels to repair their old temples. Reports of the destruction of temples should be strictly sent to the court under the seal of the Qazis and attested by pious sheikhs. Destructions at Ellora, Triambakeshwar, Narsinghpur, Pandrapur, Jejuri and Yavat, which is Bhuleshwar. Number 24. This occurs sometime in 1693. The emperor ordered the destruction of the Hateshwar temple at Vadnagar, and Hateshwar was considered as the special guardian deity of the Nagar. Number 25. This is dated April 3rd, 1694. The emperor learned from a secret news writer of Delhi that in Jaisinghpura, Bairagis used to worship idols, and the censor, on hearing of it, had gone there, arrested Shri Krishna Bairagi and taken him with 15 idols away to his house. Then the Rajputs assembled there, flocked to the censor's house, wounded 3 of his footmen and tried to seize the censor himself, so that the latter set the Bairagi free and sent the copper idols back to the local Subedar. Number 26. This occurs sometime in the middle of 1698. Habibuddin Khan Bahadur, who had been deputed to destroy the temple of Bijapur and to build a mosque on its site, returned to court after carrying out the order and was praised by the emperor. Number 27. Aurangzeb's letters of 1698, he had written them to his officials named Ruhullah Khan, Zulfikar Khan and Mughal Khan, ordering temple destructions throughout Maharashtra. And I quote, "The demolition of a temple is possible at any time as it cannot walk away from its place. The houses of this country of Marathas are exceedingly strong and built solely of stone and iron. The hatchet men of the government, in the course of my marching, do not get sufficient strength and power to destroy and raise the temples of the infidels that meets the eye on the way. You should appoint an orthodox inspector or daroga who may later destroy these temples at leisure and dig up their foundations." Number 28, and this is the last item. This is dated 1st January 1705. The emperor, summoning Muhammad Khalil and Khidmat Rai, the daroga of hatchetmen, ordered them to demolish the temple of Pandrapur and to take the butchers of the camp there and slaughter all the cows inside the temple. The job was done. Clearly, This list is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg, but two important themes emerge from this list. The first is the obvious and undisguised Islamic bigotry flowing in Aurangzeb's blood, which was unambiguously expressed in such violent language of intolerance. Not only was it mere textual expression, but it was followed up by practice of demolishing Hindu temples. The mere sight of a Hindu temple aroused extreme hatred within Aurangzeb. The second theme is the sheer geographical extent of Aurangzeb's industrial scale temple destructions. To mention only a few places, this geography includes Delhi, Agra, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra and Karnataka. That is almost 70% of undivided India's landmass. Let that sink in. All these temple destructions were pious Islamic deeds proudly documented by Aurangzeb himself. This was also a gift and an inspiration for posterity. Therefore, it is unsurprising that a whole gamut of future fanatics like Shah Waliullah, Syed Ahmad Khan, Allama Iqbal and Zia ul Haq, all of them regarded Aurangzeb as a role model and lamented the loss of his guidance for properly putting the infidel Hindus in their place. But in this historical backdrop, it is clear that the final chapter of this story of Hindu temple destructions has still not been written. Podcast. If you enjoyed listening to this episode and if you found it useful, please like, share and subscribe to our channel. You can also leave your thoughts and feedback in the comment section. Namaste and thank you.